you get into specialty healthcare finance? I mean, man, that sounds kind of wicked. Equipment and all that. How'd you do it? I was prepared and it came along my way. It was there all along. It's not the industry, it's not the product, it's not the service, it's you. You're going to attract this type of opportunity. When you have people skills, people want to do business with you. So I was a waiter at Rusty Pelican on Key Biscayne.
All right, Bobby, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, Alex. Great to be here, and thank you for the good energy, and I'm really grateful.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here on the show. How's life right now with coronavirus kind of coming out of this whole deal? How's everything for you?
Everything is good. You know, I look at life in an extreme way where it's extremely consistent. I always feel that we're always in crisis, and you know, and you got to be positive. And there's so many things to be negative about. Just turn on the news; a lot going on. And if you smother yourself with that stuff, you shall become that stuff, and it can leave you stuck. It can leave you thinking a little differently on how you see life, how you judge others. And there's so much inbound coming: social media, TV, radio, your friends, your fan. There's so much inbound. So I just choose to control my type of inbound.
I love it. And it's tough to do nowadays, Bobby, especially in 2020. We're being thrown, one negative story after another. What is your best strategy for, staying positive, keeping that positive mental attitude?
The power of momentum, and if you and your listeners, if you tune into this, at least this is how I see life. This is what has worked for me. I can't really talk about anybody else other than me. So we are the creators of this momentum. So it builds, it becomes big, powerful. It can take over you. It can move you. It can shift you. It can turn you. It can bend you upside down. But what's great about the momentum, you control what type of momentum you're building. So many, many years ago, I used to have this momentum that I used to blame a lot on the circumstances, just all this stuff. And this momentum was building to the point where it was keeping me stuck. And I figured it out with no exaggeration, Alex, that I said, my momentum every day is like, for example, the momentum I left off from yesterday, I just build from it, making sure it stays in tune and stay focused on that momentum. So many people in life build this momentum, they let go of it, they get distracted, they forget about momentum. That momentum will create and start forming in other ways. So what I choose to do is stay on my core values, my momentum, that the only thing I can control is my momentum. I create it, everything I put in it is my responsibility. And I know it sounds wacky, it sounds crazy, but it's what's worked for me. And every 2 hours, for 2 hours in the morning, I wake up about 5:15 in the morning. I truly work on myself as much as possible to make sure, what did I do wrong yesterday? What could I have done better? I'm focused on being focused. And that's how extreme I am. I don't get distracted easily. Does it happen from time to time? Absolutely, yes. But I'm always in that airport mode. I give examples of, imagine you or I, good times, bad times. You could be a billionaire. You can be extremely poor. You can be a pastor at a church. You can be a police officer, whatever the case may be. But when we go to the airport, we're automatically on emergency mode. We are a mission-driven thing. We can't miss that airport. We're like freaking fully focused. But when we're out of the airport, well, back, the yo-yo starts. Imagine being on airport mode all day, every day. That's me, because guess what? You're saying hi to the security. You're being nice to that lady just to make sure she doesn't slow down the process so you can make that flight. Automatically, we put out all our people skills. But when we're out of the airport, back to normal stuck mode.
I love it. That's a great example, right? The hustle and bustle, tunnel vision, right? Like you're catching a flight to keep
and
that
momentum.
Imagine being
like that all day, every day. Just not a moment when you go to the airport once in a while. It just, that's my way of thinking.
I love it. Bobby, I'm truly truly inspired. I mean this from the bottom of my heart of your story, because for anybody that's not familiar with your work, right? You took $25,000 and turned it into a $300 million company, or I'm sorry, a $1 billion company, right?
Yes.
And I mean, that is like mind blowing, amazing, just unbelievable. And you did it in the financial services sector. Is that correct?
Yeah,
right?
Healthcare.
Bobby, how did you do it? How that's the big question, right? How did you do that?
So I'm here to tell everybody I was able to scale on so many different ways. First and foremost, everyone, 99.999% of people think that I have to borrow money, I have to get investors. They spend all their energy thinking this and ignoring the small wins and going back to that momentum. All that business that I exited for $1 billion valuation, and I'll show you how momentum happens. And I'll go back to my story a little bit. I exited when I was about 19 years old. I had the company for 19 years. It was like my child. A few years back, a knock on the door came saying, hey, we would like to invest and buy 30% of the company based on a $250 million valuation. All cash. We'll wire you $75 million. Oh, bingo. Now let's see if it closes. Well, it closed. Money was transferred. And you're like, you think you're rocking. And I was doing extremely good in my life financially, building a business, employing people, and thinking my thing doesn't stink, man. I'm rocking and rolling. No one can be better than me. No one can do it better. And then I say, wow, why did someone overpay for that? You go to a powerful free resource that I've made a lot of money on. It's called google.com. I did my research. My gosh, they stole it. Because all along, we were paying attention here, thinking we were doing good. All along, we should have been paying attention here to increase valuation and still make money at the same time. So what we did was we stopped getting distracted and we started paying attention. 11 months, under a year, 11 months later, we go back knocking on the door. Hey, you have first right refusal. We love you guys. You've been great to us. A big institution, $20 billion plus institution. But now we want to take 19% more off the table and still own and control 51% of our company. But you have the first right refusal and we're honoring that. Oh, for sure, we love it. I mean, great. This has been one of the best investments, but it's 600 million. It's not 250. What? Are you crazy? The power of paying attention to this and not this took us 11 months later from 250 to 600 million, 19%, all cash. 3-4 years later, fueled it more, took it over $1 billion. Should have been 1.4, but I settled on $1 billion because the terms were hassle-free. The power of paying attention and not getting distracted with all your friends, all the shoulda, coulda, woulda, being the smartest person, always focusing on what you know the best and ignoring what you should be paying attention to is a prime example how I woke up very quick to understand, do not be the smartest person in the room. You are an idiot and you're falling victim and you're never going to be able to scale or pivot. How we got there to 250, we started recruiting people that knew a lot better than Bobby Castro. I only had X amount of skill set, dude. I failed at the 3rd grade, barely got through the 9th grade. Back then it was junior high. Today it's called high school. I'm by far the smartest dude in the drawer. I can assure you of that. But I caught on to after failure and not able to pivot and getting stuck. I said, you know what, Bobby? You have to stop criticizing your weaknesses. You're never going to repair them. You're never going to fix them. Focus on your strengths. Look for others that can benefit your weakness. You have to scale with others. All Bobby Castro did, I have the same story a lot of other people in the world have. They were broke. They lived on government assistance. I have all the struggle stories. Everyone's so fascinated with my story. The only reason they want to hear it is because I got some results. What you want to hear is how I did it. That is where the core is. And I love it because I have the same story as a lot of people have. We all have problems with our families. We were all financially broke. Our families were broke. My mom, she was a waitress. My dad, a postman in the Bronx, broke, Puerto Rican. She's Jewish and Irish, right? Yeah, we got all the soap opera. But how did I get from here to here? And I got here by scaling and understanding your ego's not your amigo, man. When you start having people skills, you start using the power of thank you, you're welcome, good morning, and you really mean it. People want to do business with you. You attract what you receive, man. And I know it sounds corny. No, Bobby, it has to be more than that. No. Give me the needle in the vein. No, I need it now. Because Bobby Castro used to want it now, and I skipped all those important process. And when I stopped doing that abusive stuff to me, today I'm worth $300 million personal net worth, me and my wife. Me and my wife will be married 30 years this October 6th. On top of it, throughout the years, we created and built a $400 million real estate portfolio that gives us a huge amount of cash flow every single month. No investors, raise no money, respecting a penny and understanding the power of information on how to compound that penny. The biggest win I ever did in my life was to understand small wins. It gave me confidence. And at one time I got so much confident that it was too much confident. And I was starting to pay attention to my own crap when I should have been paying attention here. And every stage, man, you never stop growing.
Man, holy smokes, brother. You getting me fired up, Bobby. I love it. If we were to go back in time, right, and just going over your story in many different articles and publications about you, is it true that you dropped out of high school?
Yes, I just got through the ninth. Back then, it was, again, junior high, not high school.
Back then, did you always know that you were going to be as successful as you are?
No, I always knew I was going to be rich. And that's all I focused on. I had no idea of the capital W, wealthy. They're two different efforts. I was working harder, not smarter. I had this ambition soul in me. I was so impatient. Again, I was trying to skip the process. I knew I can be rich. And for me, rich, man, was $100,000 in the bank. I never, when I hear now of all my success, when I'm being interviewed by awesome individuals like yourself, and, I remember in 2012, I was blessed to have received the award of Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award of 2012. I had no idea who was Ernst & Young. I had no idea it was an accounting firm, one of the biggest in the world. I was so focused and so driven that I didn't know there was people willing to give you money, invest in you. I'm so blessed that I was focused on being focused, because I probably would have given away the company, raised money for investors for my real estate, and maybe be worth 50 million instead of 300 million. But I'm so grateful that I've learned the power of small, compound, long-term, boring efforts. Everyone gets lost with all the fancy dancy planes and all the stuff that we all see on social media. You get no information by doing that. You're skipping such a huge process that you're not respecting a penny. You don't even understand how much a penny will make you a fortune. So my goal today, Alex, I'm on a 100-year plan. That means what, Bobby? 100 years from now, look at the power of law of attraction when you manifest. There's a great book called The Secret, man. A lot of people have read it. I challenge them, surrender a little bit and read it again. I'm on a 100-year plan, my wife and I. In 100 years from now, somewhere in our pipeline of family members, we want to be mentioned. We want to do what our family members did not do, sacrifice now for legacy, generational wealth. That is the big high level thinking. And in order to do that, Alex, you're going to have not too many friends. Your conversations may not be in common with other conversations. Your core values may be a little different. Your way of thinking is different. And sometimes that's too lonely for most. With me, I get off on it because I keep getting results. It's my core value. I want to leave a legacy. I don't want to leave nickels and dimes. I want to leave my name.
Which, from my perspective and many others, you already have. I mean, you've already accomplished so much, man. I mean, you're a young guy. You got plenty of time ahead of you to go on and keep impacting. So, I want to know, Bobby, what was the inspiration between Bankers Healthcare Group, right? Because as new entrepreneurs, and a lot of our listeners are just starting out, there's so many different industries, right? You have real estate space, you have the tech space, digital marketing. Why did you choose the financial healthcare sector? Like, did somebody just come along one day and say, hey, you should start this kind of company? Or like, what was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, I love that question. Thank you for asking. So check this out, viewers and listeners. You may be one that's saying, man, what industry should I go into? What is the next biggest and greatest thing? Well, Bobby, what do you think I should be doing? This is what happened to me based on me, not anybody else. There's something that's been said, it's been around for many years. When preparation meets opportunity, magic happens. And what I mean by that, Alex, when you're prepared mentally, personally, and you're actually ready, you're going to see so much opportunities. It's like clear as sky, man. They're everywhere. When I walk down the street, I see opportunities everywhere. I continue to get rewarded financially, spiritually, everything. And the reason most don't see opportunities are, Bobby, how'd you get into specialty healthcare finance? I mean, man, that sounds kind of wicked. Equipment and all that. How'd you do it? I was prepared, and it came along my way. It was there all along. It's not the industry, it's not the product, it's not the service, it's you. You're going to attract this type of opportunity. When you have people skills, people want to do business with you. So I was a waiter at Rusty Pelican on Key Biscayne, a waiter when I failed again. And my daughter and my wife, I was living in Pedro and Dixie's house, and my in-laws. We had no money, man. I was down and out, living with my in-laws in Hialeah on 103rd Street and Lejeune Road. There was a car that was given to us by her parents. It was used, beat up, no air conditioning. Here in Southern Florida, it is very humid, as you can imagine. One day, and I don't know what that day was, I was walking out of the house. Sophia, my wife, was pulling up with the car, and it was that car that it's reverse fumes. You get carbon monoxide, you get nauseous. I mean, it was all beat up. I'll never forget that both of them have the biggest smile seeing me and all that. And Sophie's been beside my craziness ways all these years. I look at my daughter in the backseat of the car seat. She's 29 years old today, Alex. This was when she was 2 years old. I see my beautiful Priscilla, peach, candy apple red, smiling, so happy to see daddy, soaking freaking wet. I mean, I'm talking about looked like a shower. It broke my heart because I used to say and blame the circumstances on my family because they were financially struggling, saying, you know what? When I have kids, my kids are not going to live like this. No, all this crap. That day, I felt this small, saying, my kid's in a worse position. That is the day I stopped this addiction of always looking for the get rich quick thing. I used to be a junkie. There was no internet back then. I used to get off classified ads. It was a flyer, make $1 million next year, make 100,000. I would get it every other day. A dozen mail pieces will come to my house. I'm just looking at it, doing nothing with it. And then when you do something with one of them, you give up and you blame it. It's a crappy opportunity, this and that. I was stuck like a hamster on a wheel. That day, enough of this addiction. Went back waiting on tables, like my mom. She waitress all my life, all my adult life, raising her boys. I went to work at the Rusty Pelican at night on Key Biscayne. Started selling during the day. At the stage where I was at, I started. I didn't fantasize about letter L when I'm negative A. A lot of us are on letter A and you want to skip the process and get right to Z. You're going to fail over and over based on my experience. I finally surrender, saying enough. You obviously have the tenacity. You want it. There's something hungry. I'm making this up. It's just the way I was feeling. And I started, man, right there, Sophie and I. And it's not me, man. My wife was there. My wife is, I'm maybe a little louder than my wife. My wife, she's a Cuban, beautiful, sexy salsa lady. If it wasn't for her, dude, I wouldn't be sitting here. We both did it together. And from that point forward, man, we understood no more of this insanity. We have to start saving our money. This is where you come stack and rack. You save, so one day you can rack and invest. Since then, we've never looked back. And we were so busy doing it. And along the way, Bankers Healthcare Group came, meeting people, saying hi. People want to do business with you. We felt it was a great opportunity. We took it and we started building on it with no money. The $25,000 was not even our money. It was already in the account. We just adopted the $25,000. We actually started the company with practically $0. No money borrowed, no investors. We didn't know nobody would give us a shot. Thank God. The power of sometimes not knowing and knowing. It's funny how that goes. That led us to many businesses thereafter. Today we invest in private equity, VC. We love real estate tremendously. I'm on my new chapter now with my daughter, who's 29, my son, who's 23, my son-in-law, my future daughter-in-law, my 2 grandbabies are here. And man, you know what? Long story short, dude, you know what the value add is on real estate? Real estate, you find something, you add value, meaning capital improvements, you raise the rent, it increases in valuation. In life, it's a better value add. Keep adding value to your life. You keep increasing value. There's no ceiling in life. Every day I'm able to create, and I'm so excited every day. So many people say, man, do you ever shut the battery off? No, man. Why? Because I keep getting results. I keep getting paid financially and how I feel. And it's like, if you get the rewards like me, you'll be the same way. I want to be with you. I want to be like you. I want to start doing it, man.
I love it, brother. If you were to reminisce on those times where you just, you were serving tables at night, which my backstory, I used to serve tables too before I got into business. So I know what that's like, man. Long 14, 15-hour shifts sometimes, pulling doubles and all kinds of crazy stuff. But if you were to look back on those times when you first got started in your business, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently?
Scale quicker with other people. I had a hard time in the beginning, Alex, doing everything and being everything. No one can do it better than me. Nobody wanted it better than me. I was so wrong. And non-refundable minutes comes from that. I wasted and invested so many non-refundable minutes with that stupid ego mode. Ego means you can be still a nice guy, but you still have an ego, which I just described. I would have scaled quicker by surrendering. Bobby, you have this much skill set. Find people that can help you scale. The sooner you do that, and the sooner you really find the correct people, because a lot of people will do it, but you start accepting anybody. When you start accepting anybody, you're just taking on luggage. You want to get best of the best. Well, Bobby, how do I get them? Because they're making $200,000 a year. I only can afford 50. What Bobby used to do, put on his people skills, put a model in place that if you're successful, Alex, I'm successful. I repeat it. I did not say when I'm successful, you're successful. When you're successful, I'm successful. We created a model that we created people to become wealthy in our organization. And they had they had an invested interest. And you're not going to attract anybody at high levels without having a proper model within your business that makes sense of why they want to help you build it.
It makes a ton of sense. Super powerful stuff. Bobby, I'm curious, man. What's it like going to sleep at night knowing you're a $300 million man?
Alex, man, and I'm saying with all my pure heart, man, I don't feel like I'm worth it. I don't feel like that number is real. That number doesn't really excite me. I'm at a level at 53 years old. What excites me is giving value. I just wake up in the morning and I want to give you, Alex, more value than you give me on this podcast. Because I know somehow, some way, this energy comes back to me and keeps rewarding me. I don't know, man. I'm to the stage in my life, to be fully honest with you, man. I just love creating. I love being a better person than I was yesterday. I like helping people because it helps me. Money's really not a big thing for me. It allows you resources. It helps my family members. It helps us with healthcare, God forbid, happens. It provides you resources, but life, man, it's so awesome in other ways, and maybe you would ask me this question 5 years ago, it could have been different, but that's what's beautiful about life. You keep growing better. So at the stage where I'm at, that's my answer. Last year, who knows what I would have said, but that's what's great, because if I would have answered the same thing I would have answered last year, that means I wouldn't have freaking grown.
Exactly. And I'm sure that is a huge reason why you continue to show up every day. I've seen a trend with very, very successful people. They show up every day. And
Yeah.
most people that are just getting started think like, well, okay, you grow a company to a few million, that's it. Show's over. You don't have to do anything for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But when you get there, you realize like, no, I need to give back. I need to keep improving. Like we can always all grow. And, I'm sure that's a huge part of why you do what you do.
Listeners and viewers, regardless what type of business they have, leaders build leaders. It's not about you own it. Never go there. The day you go there, that's a day you're doing massive damage to yourself and your company and your future.
Absolutely. I'm curious to know your opinion right now on the current state of the market, right? Economically speaking, with real estate and, just a lot of different industries. There's a lot of uncertainty right now we're still in COVID, but post-COVID. What are you doing right now in your current businesses to adjust to the situation?
I'm taking care of my rack, which are all my investments, really highly in tune daily, maybe 4 or 5 times a day. I have meetings just on that, real-time activity. And I am loading up and waiting with that big stack. I'm not investing in nothing right now. Pre-corona, I was already in contract for under a $50 million deal. I'm stacking because I understand the power in 2021. Wealthy people become very wealthier in very scary times. We're not in scary times now. 2021 is, especially in real estate, it's always a lag. And when some of this relief goes away and all that and the life jackets go away, Warren Buffett says it best, Alex, when the tide goes out, you shall see who's been swimming naked. Being over leveraged, overpaid, never think it was going to be adjustment. I mean, this is just a crazy thing what's going on. It breaks my heart where a lot of families are suffering. And I'm really scared in 2021 for a lot of people. There's 40 million unemployed. 20 million will get their jobs back. The other 20 million, it's going to take some time. Before Corona hit, Alex, we were creating 200,000 jobs a month. It was steaming. That's 2.4 million jobs a year. If you divide that by 20 million, you're talking about 6-7 year recovery. I think it's going to be sooner than that. What I'm doing, and I'm begging awesome entrepreneurs, Bobby, what do you think about this deal? What about it? Guys, hold in the meantime. Get knowledge of how to be a more savvy investor, but more importantly, whatever you're making $100,000 a year, get it up to 200,000. More income. Why, Bobby? Because in 2021, when the opportunities show up and you're prepared, the only thing you missed was not to make more money so you can invest now.
Boom. I love it. And are you doing like A-class apartment buildings, commercial strip centers, single family? What's your bread and butter investment?
Our $400 million of our portfolio are primarily workforce housing. These are B asset class. This is where the bus driver lives, the police officer. Our rents, Alex, are anywhere from $1,200 to $1,550 a month. This is where we like to live. I know it good. I was one of those consumers. Sophie and I used to be one of those renters. I like to live where 70% of people are living in that river there. I'm not on high rises and all that. I just believe in cash flow. Cash flow is very important. When it comes to private equity, investing in companies, I look at the jockey, the entrepreneur. I am looking for another Bobby. If I can, and I found a couple that I've invested so far through social media, getting to know somebody. There's so many industries, so many sectors that is scalable, but without the right jockey, man, the one that really understands ego is not your amigo. And if I can find a Bobby that got it right from the beginning, woo, that's like hitting.
So Bobby, you're telling me there's a chance for me.
Maybe there's a chance for a lot of people, because if a lot of people can get a hold of some of this craziness I talk about in my own way, it's that easy. It starts with you, ends with you. It's all you. You're the one that's gonna have people lead, create. It's all on you. All your choices, all your outcomes. You don't need money to start. That's what's great about the stage where I'm talking to a lot of people on social media. I'm just talking about getting your crack right, man. We all think, I'm all right, Bobby. I already read that book. No, I tried that. No, I already know about real estate. Okay, You can't talk to the smartest person in the room because that's wasted energy. Never be that smartest person because you're never going to grow and you're never going to be wealthy.
Absolutely. Now, Bobby, I ask every guest on the show the same question. I'd like to extend that to you if that's okay.
Sure.
In your entire life so far, what has been the absolute best advice that you've ever received?
Invest your non-refundable minutes wisely, but in different. I met a billionaire that I was disappointed meeting him. I didn't like his vibe, but I was so fortunate to still suck something away, get something. And watch who you invest your time with. So what does that mean? I'm married to Sophie. I better friggin' love her. I better love making love to her. I better love talking to her. I better love everything, because if I don't, I am wasting valuable time. So just think about it. So that's how the whole non-refundable minutes started coming together. Because a lot of the successful people that will pick brains and what you're doing, the core value is just that. They get 3 days out of each one day. When you really manage your non-refundable minutes, try to get 3 days out of your one day. And of course, not burning yourself out. I'm not saying work 24 hours, but so many minutes, Alex, we waste hours on nonsense stuff that brings no productive effort to the core value that you're going after. So, your non-refundable minutes, man, don't burn them. You don't get them back.
I love it.
And you're fooling yourself if you think.
That's powerful, man. Non-refundable minutes, right? Yeah, there's only so much time. You got to be careful and be wise who you spend it with, right? I love that advice. Bobby, is there anything that you're currently promoting or pushing, or any call to action for the listeners right now that are listening or watching this podcast that you'd like them to do or take action on?
Yes. Be so freaking successful, man, so you can impact others. I don't want from you. I'm not here to sell you nothing. I'm here for a moment in time, opening my heart out, and I know there's Bobbies out there. I know they're twisted, confused. They're all like a pretzel, man. And I'm telling you, some ding dong like me, man, if I did it and I'm still doing it, so can you. I don't want nothing from you. What I want you to do is win.
I love it, man. So you grew up in Miami, but you're originally from the Bronx, right?
Yes.
The New York never left you, man. Once a New Yorker, always a New Yorker.
I love New Yorkers. I love engagement. I love conversation, especially if it's the right conversation. And Miami's been a special heart in my life. We grew up in Hialeah, a Latino community, and I met my wife there. And I love all people, man. I don't care what country. I don't care what color, race, gender, religion. How can you not love another human being? There's no difference. Just be nice to people. You'll be so surprised, the power of kindness. If you're in sales, you'll close more deals because the customer doesn't know how to say no to a beautiful, kind person. You're at a negotiating table, the power of listening, which shows a demeanor of kindness. You're listening. You're listening. You're always going to win. So kindness, man. You say good morning to someone, you'll be surprised. Good morning back. There's the person I don't really get along with, because what value do you get on that?
Right. And especially right now with where we're at in the current world, right? We need more love, more kindness.
That's all it is, man. More, just more love, because all of us, we're all connected. This Corona stuff, man, it shows you how connected we all are.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you're spot on, man. And Bobby, you truly inspired me. I know you inspired the listeners. I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here. I could chat it up with you for hours, man, but I know your time is super valuable. I'm gonna link everything, all your socials in the show notes and everything.
I appreciate
so
that,
people
Alex.
can reach out to you. And thank you so much, Bobby. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You're a good individual. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, brother.